After 12 months of pregnancy, the woman gave birth to a baby no bigger than an egg. The father was so furious he ran to the mountaintop and shattered a massive boulder. Because of his own selfishness and weakness, he had sacrificed his unborn child to demons. To obtain supreme power, defeat the demon clan, and found his own kingdom. The child grew up deaf and mute, his body no bigger than his father's finger. Although Boji was a prince, the people mocked him as if he were a fool. When he was robbed, he couldn't even cry out. Kage took all of Boji's valuables, even stripping him of his clothes. Seeing how helpless he was, Kage told him to wear even more expensive clothes next time. Boji nodded eagerly and agreed. The next day, Kage was already waiting, but he didn't expect Boji to arrive with a group of soldiers behind him. Kage immediately broke into a sweat, but the next second, a voice snapped him back. Boji had shown up in even finer clothes, yet there wasn't a single soldier behind him. Even though he had just been robbed, Boji looked unusually excited, because everyone around him despised him. No one ever wanted to talk to him. He treated the robber in front of him as a friend, and said he'd wear even more expensive clothes tomorrow. On the third day, Boji came again, and when he saw Kage, he looked even happier. Only then did Kage realize, this idiot was actually a prince. Boji dreamed of becoming a great king, but Kage laughed, saying a deaf and mute like him could never be king. When Boji headed back, Kage quietly followed behind him. Back in town, Boji was mocked by the people again. This was already the third time he'd been robbed. Even children dared to bully him. What kind of prince could be this weak? At that moment, Kage began to feel sorry for Boji. In the end, Boji could only run away with a red face. As soon as he returned to the castle, Boji's stepmother saw he'd been robbed again. She felt he was a disgrace as a prince, and accused him of tarnishing the royal family's dignity, saying he had no qualifications to be king, and that her own son was 100 times better than Boji. Watching from behind, Kage felt how miserable Boji was. No one truly liked him, but just as Boji was changing clothes, a tear fell. He was crying. Boji wasn't stupid at all. He had just been enduring everyone's cold mockery in silence, because he was the eldest prince. But the next second, Boji wiped away his tears, and forced a smile. He didn't want his father to see him sad, yet King Boss was already greatly ill. He hoped Boji would grow up quickly and inherit the throne. The king loved Boji deeply, but seeing his son smaller than his own finger broke his heart. Without Boji's sacrifice, this kingdom would not exist. He feared that after his death, Boji would be bullied, so he summoned the strongest swordsman in the nation. The king ordered Domas to train Boji in the harshest way possible, but when Domas saw such a weak Boji, he could only shake his head, venting his frustration by striking a wooden post behind him. Why was he being asked to teach someone this weak? Suddenly, the second prince Daida appeared, immediately mocking Boji's strength, asking whether he could even kill an ant. He then challenged Domas. The moment Daida gripped the wooden sword, a terrifying pressure radiated from his body. That presence felt just like King Boss's, and Daida's strength and speed were absurd. On a completely different level from Boji, a smile suddenly appeared on Domas's face. This was a true king. This was the student he truly wanted. Domas tested Daida with a few sword techniques. Watching from the side, Boji thought his brother was amazing. In the end, Domas defeated Daida. Daida was furious, because it was the first defeat of his life, but Domas said his swordsmanship was already excellent. Seeing such an outstanding Daida, Domas swore to pass all his techniques on to him. At that moment, Boji noticed the sadness on his teacher's face. He picked up a wooden sword and pointed it at Daida. He wanted to challenge him and prove himself. News of the duel instantly spread through the palace. Daida's mother scoffed, saying there was no need for such a match. Domas knew Boji stood no chance. Everyone thought the outcome was already decided. Boji was just asking to be beaten. Their scorn drew the attention of the four heavenly kings. Daida raised his wooden sword and swung at Boji, but in the next instant, Boji dodged it. That tiny movement revealed Boji's hidden talent. No matter how Daida attacked afterward, he couldn't touch Boji at all. The onlookers were stunned. Though Boji was small and weak, he achieved perfect evasion. A soldier had once witnessed Boji dodging every attack in a nest of snakes, and calmly walking away. Now Daida was completely enraged. Boji seized the moment and tapped Daida on the head with the wooden sword. The damage was small, but the humiliation was enormous. The crowd felt this was despicable. No better than underhanded tricks. A true king should face his enemies head-on. Pure dodging could never defeat a powerful foe. The sword saint could no longer stand it, and began signing to Boji. After reading it, Boji looked frightened. The match then continued. The second prince raised his staff and brought it down with force. This time, Boji did not dodge, choosing to face it head-on, but the difference in strength was overwhelming. Boji was smashed hard on the forehead. Then another blow sent foam spilling from his mouth. Boji struggled to defend himself, but he was powerless, unable to keep dodging, and could only stand there like a living target. Severely injured, his entire body was wrapped in bandages. The sword saint watched quietly, and sighed that maxed out evasion without strength was meaningless. Such a pity, then silently left the room. Meanwhile, the eldest prince was trapped in a nightmare, dreaming of everyone calling him a coward who only dodged. A worthless weakling with no fighting power. He groped his way to the sword, trying with all his might to lift it, but no matter how hard he tried, it wouldn't budge. The prince broke down crying over his weakness. At that moment, his friend Kage appeared. He encouraged the prince, saying he was the best. He had watched that duel, and believed Boji's fighting style wasn't wrong. No matter how others slandered Boji, he would always stand by his side. After hearing this, Boji felt much better. He pointed to a chest nearby, filled with gold coins, but Kage said he didn't need them anymore. Being Boji's best friend was more than enough.